basic. Open the book, the word itself approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences, let love heal all that's broken. If you need truth, this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it, it's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word itself approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences, let love heal all that's broken.
How about now? Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three.
Okay.
Testing one. All right, good.
Yes.
Good to hear. Yahweh be praised. And shalom to everybody. All right, well, for those of you who were there, we didn't really get too far. I am going to need a reader no matter what. So I do need a reader right now that would help me out. So if I can get a reader to bring me to Genesis chapter number 39, since we got to start over anyway, I think it's a sign. We'll do that. All right. So who wants to make us and help us with that? Genesis chapter 39, verse 1. Do I need a reader? Do I have a reader?
Linda.
All right. You got to read it, Linda. You got to read it fast, but you got to read it slow. All right. I need clarity. Let's go. And I need another reader who's going to pick up after that.
Veronica.
Thank you, Veronica. All right. Let's go. We, we've got two. We have the two.
So we're
You'll begin at verse 1, please, and you'll read to verse 3. Veronica, you'll pick up from 3 to 6. You'll read every three verses, alternating. Please read slow, but wait for my voice to tell you to stop.
okay. Genesis 39, verse 1. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, brought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And Yahweh was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all that he did to prosper in his hand. Was I through with the verse 3 you said, correct?
Yes, Veronica, are you picking up the next verse, please?
Yes, sir.
3 through 6, please. 4 through 6, please.
And Usef found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had he put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that Yahweh blessed the Egyptian's house for Usef's sake. And the blessing of Yahweh was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Usef's hands, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Usef was a goodly person and well favored.
Verse 7.
Pause, please. Anybody want to talk about this? Nobody see anything of importance through these these parts that you're reading from? So what we're talking about here at this point is that Usef, we know, was traded to Ishmaelites. They took him down to Egypt, traded him there to Potiphar. Potiphar has him in his possession, and he is in the master's house, in Potiphar's house. His master is an Egyptian. He's there. Does anybody see anything interesting in these verses through 1 through 7?
Rogers.
Okay. And y'all do know this is a Bible book club, right? Y'all, we supposed to talk about what we're reading, right? I want to make sure we're clear on that. All right, go ahead, Rogers.
What I see is how that they were blessed simply because of Yusuf being there. Had not been there, they would not have received those particular blessings that they were receiving.
All right, you trailed up at the end there.
I was saying, had Yusuf not been there, they would not have been blessed in the way that they were being blessed.
Okay. Well, I find it very interesting, and I want people to think about this. And I don't want, I so desperately want church education to almost die off of us. And I know I can't make that happen by the wave of my hand, but we've been so conditioned with these stories, we've never understood the practical day-to-day layout and playouts of these particular passages. So you know, was Potiphar blessed now just because Usef was there? Is a question I'm putting to the masses.
No, he was blessed more so.
Okay. Anybody else with a thought on that? All right, Janet, would you, Linda, would you please read verses 1 through 3? I'm gonna do this one time only. Would you please read 1 through 3, and then Veronica, please pick up from 4 to 7. Thank you so much. Looking forward to it. Let's go. Lindo, are you there?
Oh, I apologize. I was on mute.
Thank you.
And Usef was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And Yahweh was with Usef. He was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all that he did to prosper in his hand.
And Usef found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and for all that he had, that Yahweh blessed the Egyptian's house for Usef's sake. And the blessing of Yahweh was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Usef's hand, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Usef was a goodly person and well favored. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Usef, and she said, lie with me. That was up to verse 7.
I'm aware. All right.
Daphne,
Anybody want to talk to me about what you're
Linda.
reading? If you're not, if you thank you, I heard you. I heard you. If you're not reading the writ and you're just listening to us, then what you're not going to have a dialogue to this. But I'd like for y'all to tell me what you see in these readings. You know, if I'm sitting here on purpose, rereading it for the third time, not the second time, the third time. There must be something inside of here, huh? What do we got? What do we see? All right, so I think I heard Daphne first, and then I'll go with Lindo.
Roger.
Thank you, sir.
Let's go, Daphne.
I think I'm seeing where Yahweh said, I will bless those who bless Israel. And so Potiphar didn't really know what he had, but because of the hands, there is blessing Israel, the house of Israel. His blessings are increasing because of that.
Okay, let me
That's
pause
what
you. I know what you want to say, but you don't want to say that right now, especially with the tensions. Remember, Yahweh didn't bless the Israel. Yahweh blessed Abraham. He blessed them. He would bless them that blessed him. He would curse them that cursed him. So Israel is not yet a nation. Israel is his dad. We haven't run into the nation part yet, but I'm glad where your head is going, and I know what you mean, Daphne. But the way you say it, you got to be careful because of the tensions that we have in modern day. So this is not a case of Potiphar treating Usef nice. Potiphar bought a slave. You follow where I'm going, Daphne?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And he bought a slave. I mean, I don't know how you can treat a person better. But he bought a slave. So I'd have to just say, though I know what you mean when you talk about, because of he doesn't know. Like you said, he really doesn't know what he has in his possession. He really doesn't know who this is in his possession, but he gonna learn today. But at the end of the day, we also want to make sure we remember that there are, this is not the blessing of Israel on him. And if we keep reading it, we'll tell exactly what blessing this is. All right. Thank you, Daphne, for at least getting things started. Okay. Anybody else see anything in
Yeah,
these verses 1 through 7?
the author.
The author, I'm going to give you a minute. I think you're in queue, Mods. I think I got Lindo next.
Yes, sir.
I just noted that Usef had the grace of Yahweh on him, so anything that he touched, whatever he did, would prosper.
Okay. I'm hoping somebody else can help to expand that because you and Daphne are touching on it, but it's not necessarily that which is connected to Abraham at this point. Anybody else?
Rogers is in Houston.
Thank you, Rogers.
Okay, so I'm thinking along those lines that not only was it predestined, but because of the blessing that was passed down from him, and it was on him, and I see the semblances of how wherever I might be jumping. No, I'm not jumping the gun. It was let's see, Jacob, how when how he went and Laban property and Laban he was blessed and his things were multiplied, and so it's happening here again. That's what I'm seeing. Veronica.
Okay, so let me touch that part. That's not the blessing part. That's not the blessing of Jacob. This is Usef. Jacob is yet alive. Jacob got that blessing when it was passed down to him by his father Isaac. You follow me, elder? So I want y'all to really slow up. I want y'all to get rid of the church. I want y'all to, matter of fact, bring the church up so we can show y'all what church looked like. Okay? So, though elder is right, Usef is blessed, I want to make sure we don't confuse these things. So, Jacob having Isaac's, Abraham's transfer. This ain't the transfer. And if you read this passage one more time, you'll see what this blessing is. This is why I want y'all to slow down and read the Bible, read the writ. Thank you, Elder Rogers. That was good. But I'm going to show you what that looks like later on. All right. Who's next in queue, Mod?
The author, sir.
I thought there was a female voice before the authors.
Uh, no.
Okay.
The author, then Veronica, sir.
Okay, go. And then I think was Marie. Did I hear Marie?
Yes, after Veronica.
Thank you. The author, my brother.
Shalom all. I, I was thinking about when we first started reading, and I, that's the part, and they probably didn't know that they were buying their cousins because the brothers wanted to get rid of
Brother, the
him.
author,
So
I don't know if everybody else heard you, but I did not. Brother author? The author? I hear you laughing.
yeah, I'm in the hotel, and I got bad reception.
Bro, trust me, I know what it feels like. Trust me. All right, so let's try it one more again. I'm with you. I'm listening. Go ahead. Are you talking, sir?
Yeah, I was saying that, and that should have. I mean, they didn't know that they were buying their cousins, so I mean, they was just trying to make. But maybe that's an issue that you can bring some clarity on.
Okay, it was hard to tell, but I think what you were getting around to in theory was that the Ishmaelites and the Midianites who bought Usef did not know they were buying their cousin. Is that what you're getting to, sir?
Uh, you you went out on my end, so
Okay,
I
let me try.
guess
Let me try it again. Can you hear me clear now?
I can.
Okay, so are you giving the theory and thought that the Ishmaelites and the Midianites who bought Usef did not know basically he was their cousin? They was just trying to make money because that's what these guys do, right?
Correct.
Okay. Was there anything more to that you were trying to say? Because I don't. If you were, that's all I really got out of that piece you were saying.
I, I am in and out too much, so I'm
Yeah.
just gonna sit back and listen.
Okay. I'm gonna try to. I think I know where you might want to be at, D. Arthur. So let me see. Did anybody else hear Brother D. Arthur? Was I the only one not hearing him?
No, sir, he
No, sir,
wasn't
I could.
clear.
Okay, great, thanks. So, the author, I think I know where you're going, brother, the author, and I will have to agree right now. That's, very great point and statement. They didn't know the Ishmaelites and the Midianites that bought him. They traders, they workers. It's not like Ishmael and and Itzhak stayed firm together. They came back and buried their dad. Uh, you know, and at this point, it appears that Ishmael is dead. It appears that Itzhak is dead. So the families drifting and starting their own world, their own nations. You got Midianites, which are Keturah's sons. You got um, uh, you know uh, Ishmaelites, which are the Ishmaelites. So, and you got Jacob's boys who are a part of Itzhak, but then Itzhak had another son named Esau, and so the family thing is these are just humans on the planet at each other at this point. So yeah, they didn't know they were buying their bloodline, but Yahweh had a plan, and in his plan, we can only see how it plays out. We have the benefit, they don't. We're looking at it retrospectively. We're looking at it in hindsight. We're looking at it from record, but they were living it live time. So they're not grasping all of this. Now, what do we mean by that? That was their cousin. They didn't know it though. That was money to them. That was 30 shekels of silver. And now they're going to go and sell him for higher, for even more. He wasn't money, he wasn't cutting to them, he was money. And that's how some of y'all need to know in y'all lives with your family. Even for the ones who do know y'all. They will sell you for a dime in a minute. I just need 2 amen so I can get off this subject.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay? So yes, we know that because we actually opened the Bible. We know that Keturah had a son. We also know that Itzhak had other sons, and Ishmael was the brother of Itzhak, and he had 12 nations under him. Therefore, yes, these are cousins. This is a family matter still. Right? So great point, brother. Who's next in queue?
Veronica, sir.
Veronica, go.
Well, I was thinking it was like the heritage of Yaakov, or well, like when Abraham and Isaac, could deal well in any kind of conditions.
Again, that's the same thing we said for the last three. This is not the blessing passed from Avram to Itzhak to Jacob. Jacob can't pass this blessing until he's dead, y'all. I need to know y'all hearing this and not just listening to the voice and reading a couple of words. Any comments on YouTube or Facebook? All right.
Dan-
Moderators go. Who's next in queue?
C. Marie, sir.
Thank you, C. Marie.
Potiphar recognized, knew who Yahweh was, and he recognized that Yahweh given Yaakov favor. So because he recognized that favor, he allowed,
How can
he
you say?
gave
How can you say?
Yaakov.
How can you say Potiphar knew who Yahweh was? Just
Verse 3, and his master saw that Yahweh was with him,
good job.
and Yahweh made him all that he did to prosper at his hand. For that reason, that's why Potiphar gave Yaakov the control he gave him over his household, because he reckoned that he knew who Yahweh was, and he saw that favor in Yaakov's life.
Okay, let's keep it moving. Okay, I'm glad you saw that. So, how do we now look more into this and put it into a perspective that we actually glean from it in a great way? Anyone? Who's next in queue?
That's all we have, sir. But I'd like to be in queue, Wanda.
I thought Danielle, someone said Danielle.
I did.
I didn't hear Danielle. I'm sorry, Danielle.
So that's okay. Shalom, everyone. I was kind of on the same line with C. Marie. Um, that the Lord was with uh, Usef. Now to answer your question that you just posed, for us, people need to see that Yahweh is with us, and that's going to be based on um, how we live.
Say that again, Danielle. She there?
Could you hear me?
I could, but say it again for me, please. I heard you say that you were on. I heard you say that you were online with
Apostle, you're on mute.
Danielle. I heard you say that you were online with C. Marie, and that you understood, as it were, where she was coming from. But then you said something else that didn't click for me. I didn't catch it all. So could you give me one more go? What your take is, what your feel is, your vibe is on this, please?
I I thought you had asked the question before you came to me. How would we apply it, or how does it apply? How can it apply to us? Is that not correct?
No, I was asking you what you were reading in the text of Genesis 39, 1-7. What did you see? What are you seeing? And then we're going to go into what that looks like. So you were on the, but go ahead and finish your thought. I'm still curious as to what you said.
Oh, I was just saying. I thought you had asked the question how it applies to us. I answered the first one. Verse 2 is what got me. That where Yahweh was with Usef as he was with Abraham, and Jacob, and because he was with him, he prospered. That's why I was going. I was trying to catch it because I came on kind of late, so I just stopped at verse 2 when I saw that. But I was saying, as it applies to us, people would see us. It would people would see Yahweh. Others would see Yahweh in us or through us by the way we live. That's what I was saying. I
Okay.
thought you had asked that question.
No, that wasn't the question, but hey, it's a great point. It's a great point. I think we can walk away with a teaching point, a teaching moment from that. Great ad. Okay, we're gonna push through now. I want to watch this. Mara Marie says Usef took his home training in management and applied it to his work ethics. Ab Marie, that's about the best one yet. So Marab Marie makes a statement on Facebook. Matter of fact, I think she's on YouTube, that Usef took his home training in management and he applied it to his work ethics. Now, why do y'all think I'm taking our time to go through this as if it's as elementary? because we read past a whole bunch of things. And as we all typically thought, just because we were just getting into the first readings and we just bypass stuff and run right through the passages, we actually thought that this was the blessing of Abraham on Usef's life. We thought this was a part of Yahweh says, I'll bless them that bless you, I'll curse them that curse you. Well, to make somebody a slave would be a curse, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's okay. I want everybody to talk to me, because it's okay to realize that we got to stop riding along this word so fast. And this is the very thing Darash Kingdom Ministries and VWJ Ministries is in existence for. Because when we come into Bible Book Club, the reason we take so long to get through Bible Book Club is because we have preconceived ideologies of sermons that have been precasted for us to tell us what to think, and we never read the writ to see what the writ actually said. Now, this is just a teaching point. So let's get into this as best we can. Hey there, Elder Faison. Good to see you, beloved. All right, let's get into this next piece. So we're going to take verse number one again. Same group. Please read. Lindo, I think it was 1 through 3. And then I believe we had Veronica verses 4 through 7. Now that I have your attention, will you please pay it to these passages? And now tell me what you see. Lindo?
39. Yes, verse 1. And Usef was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And Yahweh was with Usef, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all that he did to prosper in his hand.
And Usef found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had he put into his hand. And it came to pass, from the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that Yahweh blessed the Egyptian's house for Usef's sake. And the blessing of Yahweh was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Usef's hands, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Usef was a goodly person and well favored.
Verse 7.
And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Usef, and she said, lie with me.
All right, so now you see where the storyline thickens and the storyline changes, right? So we know now that between verses 1 through 6, we're talking about one thing. Verses 7 takes us into a different thing. But I want to go back into verses 1 through 3 and really unpack this. Usef was brought down to Egypt. Potiphar is an officer of Pharaoh. He is the captain of the guard. So is Potiphar already a prosperous and, for all intents and purposes, or at least for phraseology, he a blessed man? Is Potiphar already rolling? Is he already a big?
Yes.
Is he already a big
Yes.
dog?
Yes.
See, the way we read it, it looks as if he made Potiphar a big dog. Potiphar was already a big dog. I mean, he did buy a slave and got a whole house full of slaves. So Potiphar isn't just blessed because Usef is in his house. Are y'all following this?
Okay.
Yes.
Just the readers? Well, I guess that's good. They're the ones reading it.
Yes,
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So Usef went down to Egypt. Potiphar bought him, right? The Ishmaelites sold him, so they made money. Potiphar is going to make money on the back of this laborer. Verse 2, and Yahweh was with Usef. Now, is the blessing of Yahweh on Usef, or is Yahweh with Usef?
Yahweh is with you.
Oh, so this isn't the blessing of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov.
Nope.
Does anybody think I'm being petty here?
No, it's right there.
No.
Does anybody see how we just ride past that?
Yes.
And we start assuming the text. So let's look at verse number 3. He says, saw his master. Verse 2 says, Yahweh was with Usef, and he was a prosperous man. Now, here's where y'all got to get out of your head that we really understand this to the degree that we think we understand it. Because Yahweh was with Usef. He spared his life. He kept his life. He didn't spare it. He really just kept his life because there was a plan. But notice that, Yahweh did not let him go into slavery either. Hello, 5 people.
Right.
That is
Oh, okay, let me try this one more again. So he puts this into perspective, and he lets us know with clarity that Yahweh was with Usef, and he was a prosperous man. Why was Usef prosperous? Marab Marie hit it on the head. The young man utilized the management training that his father had given him. And he put it to good use. That coat of many colors came in handy, didn't it? Verse 3, his master saw by overseeing his work that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh had made all that he did to prosper. So again, as what's her name? C. Marie was making she was alluding to, you got to make sure you clear it, is that almost everybody back in that day knew who the gods of the earth that had been named by men were. Pharaoh knew who Yahweh was. Therefore, Potiphar also knew who Yahweh was. Why? Because Potiphar was a chief counsel in Pharaoh's court. Pharaoh got his own necromancers. Pharaoh's got his own priests. Pharaoh's got his own gods, his own demigods. He's named himself one. And they also know the gods that they don't worship, or the gods that they look to whenever they want something, because people pray to whatever God will answer. Am I lying? Or do people pray to whatever God will answer today?
That's true. Yes, sir. That's true.
So I want us to stop disconnecting ourselves from the reality through this, the religious piece of this, that we understand that there's nothing new under the sun, right? So let's look deeper here in verse number 3. And his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all that he did to prosper in his hands. And Usef found grace in Potiphar's sight. And then he began a more intimate service to Potiphar. And Potiphar saw how detailed this young man was, and realized that as wealthy as I am, I could be an even bigger dog with this kind of accountability in my world. So he made him overseer of his entire house. And all that he had, he put it in the control of Usef. Even the slave traders, even the slave trainers. Is this hitting anybody else different, or do you think this is unnecessary and I'm just trying to be deep? Okay, no answer. So
Good stuff.
verse
this
number
is necessary.
I like the slow cook stuff.
Verse number 4 goes on to say, Usef found grace in the sight and served him. He made him overseer of all, put everything he had that was in his hands in Usef's charge. Verse 5, it came to pass that at time he was made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, that Yahweh, 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 Yahweh blessed the Egyptian's house. For Usef's sake. And the blessing of Yahweh was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. Is the blessing on Usef, or is the blessing now on Potiphar's house?
Potiphar's house.
Come on, church people. Talk to me, church people. Let's read now. So, who blessed Potiphar's house?
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Was it because Usef was blessed?
No, it's because Usef was with him. And he made all he did prosper.
It was because Yahweh was with Usef and caused Usef to remember the training his father gave him. So therefore, y'all listen to this. This is where we miss it. This is why we got people doing dumb stuff at work. When you let Yahweh guide your life, that's what Usef did. He went down there even as a slave, let Yahweh remind him of his father's training all those years, and he applied himself with that training to his captor's lifestyle, his captor's home. And the captor was like, yo. So this is why when you and I go to work, even though we're indebted, we're in bondage to that boss, to that slave runner, to that place that we're at. Yahweh says, if you will do Ephesians, somebody grab Ephesians chapter, somebody grab Ephesians chapter 5 for me. Somebody grab Ephesians 5 for me.
God.
Matter of fact, Ephesians 6. I'll put it on the screen so you can see it. Matter of fact, let me help y'all with it. I'll do it myself. Children, obey your parents in Yahweh, for this is right. Honor your father and your mother, which is the first commandment with promise. Verse 3, that it may be well with you, that you may live long on the earth. You fathers, provoke not your children to wrath. Bring them up in the nurture and admonition of Adonai. Verse 5, servant, 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 servant. Say, I'm a servant. Everybody say it. Say, I'm a servant.
I'm a servant.
I'm a
servant.
servant.
I'm a servant.
Y'all don't believe that. Servants. That's what all of us are. Servants. Even if you're a leader, you're still a servant. Servants, obey them that are your masters to your flesh. Oh, y'all don't like that. Y'all don't want to go to work and obey your boss. Father, help me today. Usef did this. He obeyed his masters. He took what he learned from his father. He obeyed his masters. His masters saw it, inspected his work, and saw that his work was immaculate. And his boss favored him, put him up on high. Some of us go to work, we barely get there on time. We barely honor what we're supposed to do when we are there, and we keep doing what we want to do because we think we can. And Yahweh has given not only a commandment, but he's given you a storyline from Usef to understand this. I love teaching this, and I love the look that everybody's faces get when I teach this live. But look at it. He says, servants, obey, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh. Is, in fact, Usef having a flesh master in Potiphar? That's a yes, right? That's a yes, right?
Your sound went out.
Thank you. Is Usef having a Potiphar moment? Is not Potiphar his master in the flesh?
Yes.
Yes.
Is he obeying his master in the flesh?
Yes.
Yes, he is.
So y'all thought Paul was tripping?
No.
No.
No, he wasn't, right? So therefore, every last one of us need to obey and understand that as servants, like Usef, no matter how you got to be subservient to a boss, you need to honor and obey them, their rules, their employee manual, their protocols, their standards of operations. It ain't your job, it's their job. Obey them, apply the skills and training that you received to that task you are subservient to. You ain't got the right to check your boss unless they talk to you inhumanely. In Potiphar's case, Usef was his slave, so that part didn't matter. For you and I today, we would do well to do what Potiphar or what Usef did. So servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fear and trembling, in singleness of your heart, as if you were doing it unto Messiah. So listen to what Usef did, y'all. Usef, watch this. Usef honored Potiphar as if it was his father. Did y'all extrapolate that from the story?
Yes.
Oh, you did? Oh, so
I didn't.
I'm going to stop teaching that.
I didn't.
After you said it, I'm sorry.
So verse 6 says, I'm messing with you. So verse 5 says, servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fear and trembling, in singleness of your heart, as unto Messiah. Verse 6, not with eye service, ooh, or trying to be like men pleasers, ooh, but as you are servants of Messiah, doing the will of Elohim from the heart, doing it with all good will, while doing the service as unto Adonai and not unto men. How y'all think Usef got Potiphar's favor? Can we talk about it?
Please.
I'm asking y'all, can y'all talk about it? How you think Usef got Potiphar's favor? Paul let you know right here. Potiphar watched this man work. Like Marab Marie said on YouTube, Usef he didn't try to cheat the slave owner. He didn't try to escape the slave owner. He went ahead and got grimy. He obeyed what his master said. He did it as if he was doing it to his own father. You know what? I think I'm gonna stop right here and let y'all marinate on this for a week. I'm sorry. You know what? I should have thought about it. I know I'm done. I'm gonna stop here because this is what we
does.
We wonder why we can't get a hit on our jobs, because we at the water cooler talking to everybody who's talking negative about the job, about the boss, and spreading gossip, and we're not doing the work as if we're doing it under Yahweh, and then we're doing it in our flesh because the master of our flesh, you ain't the boss of me. I might be working here, but if you and me was outside, I tell you what I do. If you got a boss, you got someone over you, you give them service as if you were giving it unto Adonai. That's why you're there, to get that paycheck. So we're always talking about we want to find favor and be favored of God, but we won't look favorable upon our masters who are of the flesh. I'm trying to help somebody get promoted on your job, but y'all don't want to hear me, do y'all?
I'm listening, Apostle.
I'm listening, Apostle. Thank you.
I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you with your clients. Because technically your clients are your bosses. Thank God you got autonomy. But when they come to you and they ask a question, your customer service needs to be as if you are dealing with them and Yahweh's asking you. Oh my goodness, say what? Right.
That was good. That was good.
You want repeat business? You want that to be churned? Give them as if you were answering their questions coming from Elohim. That's how Usef found favor in Potiphar's house, the slave owner. Now, do y'all think we would have went over that stuff and understood that stuff if we had just bypassed it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
All that we do in our world, we like, we do it by the flesh. She ain't gonna talk to me. You ain't gonna talk to me like that. I don't know what they talking about. I'm not gonna be here. Watch this. They owe me time. They owe me FMLA time. They owe me personal time. I'm gonna get my time, and you know what? I'm gonna do. No, you got time. Follow the procedures. Follow the SOP. Follow the actual employee handbook as if you are following Torah. Christian. We're going to stop right there, come back next week. I'm going to leave y'all with verses 1 through 7 and read again. We're going to come back next week because we're not even done. We're not even done. But y'all going to need to marinate on that. So real quick, one person or two people, did you learn anything or did something uncover for you? Has something now just made you look at this a little bit differently than just the story of Usef? But can you now see prophetically, instructionally from the Torah how you need to live today because nothing's new under the sun?
Most definitely.
Anybody got words to put to it? I'll give you 30 seconds each. All right. Lindo, go.
Basically saying if we live according to his plan and follow his instruction, then we will be being just like.
Let me stop you because you almost went churchy. And I know you're not churchy on this, but here's the catch. When we do according to his will, right. Yeah. That sounds good because we'll do according to his will in church, but we won't do according to his word at work. We'll do according to what gets us by. We'll do as little as necessary to get us by. I'm talking, and I mean to make your hearts pierced. We'll give just enough to get by. Very few people that I know and I love that I know work to do what is right by the purpose and the mission statement of the entity. Most people go to work, get the job, tell the job that they'll do everything in the world, and then when they get there, the job can't get them to show up for a snow day. And we'll cite every socially justifiable reason and legal element, labor law, to keep us from doing it. But we wasn't thinking about no daggone labor law when we got the jobs. I'm talking truth, and if it hurts, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Don't say a word. But Usef, a slave, gave his slave owner the kind of service he gave his father, who highly educated him. He gave him everything his father taught him. That, beloved, is impressive. Y'all go back to work tomorrow. Everybody should read Ephesians chapter number 6, verses 5 through 9 before you go to work. Let me give it to you last piece so you can catch this in real terms. Servants, obey them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fear, trembling, and singleness of your heart, as unto Messiah, not as eye service and men pleasers, but as servants of Messiah, doing the will of Elohim from the heart, with goodwill, doing service as unto Adonai, not unto men, knowing that whatsoever good thing any man does, he shall receive of Adonai, whether he be bond or free. Verse 9, and you masters, you guys that get promoted, you bosses, you client, you business owners, you people who ran up through the ranks. Now that you're masters, you do the same thing unto those. Forbear threatening. Don't you dare threaten those people. Know that your master also is in heaven. Neither with him is there respect of person. We're going to come back next week. There's more to talk about. Does that hit different for anybody but me? I love it. Okay. Well,
It
Father,
does.
thank you very much, Lindo.
There's a few things that hit different, Apostle.
I want everybody to go back now when you go to work tomorrow, whether you work for yourself or you work for a company, consider Usef. Will they lie on you? Yes, they will. Will they talk about you? Yes, they will. Will they come for you? Yes, they will. But you do it as unto Yahweh, not unto flesh, not unto man. You don't wrestle against flesh and blood. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Got it.
Yahweh, we thank you today for your word, your purpose, and all that you are. We're asking you to be with, in, through, and toward us for your name's sake and praise. We just touched the surface of a piece of information you've been trying to get us to see for many years through the storylines of the patriarchs, of the testimonies of those who lived Torah before Torah. Help us now to do away with our default in teaching from our religiosity and help us to see your instructions, because nothing new under the sun. This we pray in the precious and the mighty and in the matchless name of he who is Yeshua HaMashiach, our Savior, our King, our hope for glory. We thank you for this in the matchless name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Be with us, in us, through us, and toward us for your name's sake and for your praise. We ask this and say, Amen. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. May Yahweh make his face shine on you and be gracious unto you. May Yahweh lift his countenance upon you and grant you all 13 attributes of his shalom. This we pray in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen. All right, everybody, I want you to enjoy yourselves. Make sure you get where you got to be and do what you got to do, but do it to the glory and honor of Elohim. Only what you do for Messiah is going to last.
If you need truth, this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word itself approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences. Let love heal all that's broken.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.